Hello, my name is Louisa Braun, and I'm a collections intern at the Vermont Historical Society this summer. I have with me today this bottle, which was used by the family of Celeste and Armida Bianchi, first-generation Italian immigrants in Barre, Vermont. It was originally filled with Marsala, which is a fortified wine made in Sicily, but then it was imported into the US by the Florio company, which was one of the original makers of Marsala and is still one of the leading brands today. The Bianchi family, however, used it for homemade grappa that they would make and then refill the bottle with, and the bottle remains filled with grappa today. Grappa is made by distilling the seeds, stems, and stalks of grapes left over from the winemaking process and is often called second wine. Grappa was particularly popular during the Prohibition era because it has a higher alcohol content than wine, and making it increases the amount of alcohol you can make in your home from the same amount of wine grapes. Prohibition was established in Vermont in 1853, much earlier than federal prohibition, and it ran through the end of federal prohibition in 1933. Although from 1902 to 1920, Vermont had a local option law where individual towns could vote each year on whether they wanted to enforce total prohibition or allow for the sale of legal licenses for liquor. By 1914, almost 1/4 of Barre's population was Italian immigrants, who were largely opposed to prohibition, due in part to the discriminatory enforcement they faced because of stereotypes of immigrants as drinking too much. They were also opposed to prohibition because of their political and religious backgrounds. The majority of Italian immigrants in Barre were atheists and were not swayed by the religious aspect of the temperance movement and were often actively anti-religion. They were also very political. There was a significant faction of both socialists and anarchists living in Barre. And the Italian anarchists opposed prohibition because it conflicted with their ideals of freedom and autonomy, whereas the socialists were opposed to prohibition because they felt that while there was profit to be made from producing and selling alcohol, its consumption would never decrease. And if you truly wanted to decrease liquor consumption, you needed to destroy capitalism, not prohibit alcohol. Grappa was a really important part of people's daily life in the Italian community in Barre, which we know from a lot of oral histories and diaries we have from that period. Thank you for joining us here today. If you would like to learn more about our collections, make sure to follow the Vermont Historical Society on social media.